Our Bible word is Psalm 116, verse 12. What shall I render to the Lord for all his benefits toward me? So yeah, we are amongst the Hallel Psalms. And of course, Hallel, that's a Hebrew word for praise. And there are various groupings of these Hallel Psalms. Our Psalm 116 comes from what is known as the Egyptian Hallel, and that's Psalms 113 to 118. And that was specifically sung or specially sung during the Passover festival. And there's also the Greater Hallel, that's Psalms 120 to 136, and they were also sung at the annual pilgrimage festivals. And that you can read about in Leviticus 23 and Numbers 10 verses 10. So we have an individual psalm of thanksgiving. That's how you can describe Psalm 116. It's an individual thanksgiving hymn. Because the psalmist, he was in dire need, his life was in danger, something happened to him, and he experienced God's help. So if we go to the verse 1, I love the Lord because he has heard my voice and my supplications, because he has inclined his ear to me. Therefore I will call upon him as long as I live. So, psalm of praise. The Lord has listened to his pleas for help. And the psalmist also describes his situation. If we go to verse 3, the pains of death surrounded me, and the pangs of Sheol, in other words, Sheol refers to the realm of the dead, laid hold of me. I found trouble and sorrow. Then I called upon the name of the Lord. O Lord, I implore you, deliver my soul. And then from verses 4 to 11, the psalmist describes how the Lord came to his rescue, came to help him. And then the psalmist, he must have, in his time of distress, he must have said, Lord, if you help me, I make a vow, I'll make an offering to you as a way to express my gratitude. And there are two sections of the psalm that we need to look at in parallel. The first section is verses 12 to 14. And verses 12, that's our Bible word. It says, what shall I render to the Lord for all his benefits towards me? So what can I give to the Lord, the psalmist says, because he has come to my aid, my help. And of course the answer is nothing. We really can't give anything or repay the Lord anything. But the psalmist, he will do what he can, and he vows to bring an offering. And if we go to verses 14, he says there, I will pay my vows to the Lord, now in the presence of all his people. And now that portion of the psalm, verses 12 to 14, we can put in parallel with the other section, which is verses 17 to 19, because both deal with vows of thanksgiving. The psalmist vows, I'll bring a thank offering to God. So if we go to verse 17, it also says there, I will offer to you the sacrifice of thanksgiving, and I will call upon the name of the Lord. And in verse 18 it says, I will pay my vows to the Lord, now in the presence of all his people. And then the psalmist also goes on to say that he will do it in the courts of the temple in Jerusalem, because that's where the thanksgiving offering will be brought. So the psalmist, while he was in distress, he made a vow to God. God, I will bring you a thank offering. And now the psalmist speaks of it. And if you understand this thank offering, it probably refers to what is known as the shared sacrifice. Otherwise, it's also known as the peace or welfare offering. And this required the offering of a goat or a sheep or one of the cattle animals. And this type of offering, that three components to it. There was a portion that went to the altar, and that's where the fat was burned on the fire of the altar. Blood was also sprinkled on and around the altar by the priest. And then the priest himself, he got the right thigh and the breast of the animal. And those portions were actually waved by the offerer before the altar. But this right thigh and breast, the priest, he could actually take it home and enjoy it with his family. And you can read that about that in Leviticus 7 verses 30 to 32 or Numbers 18 verse 11. The remaining portion of the offering, it was given to the offerer. And he would then go home and enjoy that meat with his family and friends. Now we must understand the priests back then, they were expert butchers. They could slice and dice the animal, cut it up into its various parts and clean out the entrails or whatever it may be. So it was quite a bloody affair being a priest, because they would slaughter the animal, or most of the time they would cut it up, remove fat, the organs, whatever it may be, etc. Sometimes they would spread blood on the, would collect in a cup and put it on the horns of the altar or sprinkle it at the base of the altar. But anyway, being a priest back then was quite a bloody affair, and they were expert butchers. So a portion of the meat he would butcher nicely, and he would give it to the offerer, and who would then take it back home or to enjoy with his friends and family. So this, generally speaking, is the shared sacrifice, and we can read about that in Leviticus 7. But there were three types of shared sacrifices that fell under this category of a shared sacrifice. Firstly, it's the thank offering, which is immediately applicable to our Bible word, and you can read more about that in Leviticus 7 verses 12. That's just where the offerer brings his thanks to God. Like our psalmist says here, I'll bring you a thank offering. But a second one that's also relevant here is that there was also a votive offering variant of this. And that was to fulfill a vow. And we see in the psalm that the psalmist did make a vow to bring a thank offering to God. So that's probably also applicable here. The difference is with the thank offering, the meat had to be eaten the same day it was offered. With a votive offering, you had 2 days to eat the meat. That's as it's prescribed in Leviticus. The last offering that falls under this general category of shared sacrifice is the free will offering. So that's just an offering to, like, from your abundance, you give it to God. Also a kind of way to say thank you or whatever, to honor Him. And these sacrifices, they were eaten with cakes and wafers, and also with flour mixed with olive oil, etc. So the idea is also that it's fragrance, it smells nice, but cakes and wafers, the offerer must bring more than just for himself, because some of those cakes and wafers would also go to the priest, so that he can also enjoy that with his family at home. And the rest, of course, the offerer, then with the meat the priest has butchered for him, he will take the meat with the cakes and wafers and go back to his family and enjoy it there. So this is our psalmist speaks of a thank offering that he will bring to God. It's not so much money as we are familiar with today. Back in time of Jesus and before that, people did donate money, but it was the temple tax, or there were these collection boxes also in the temple that they can give for the poor, or for the community sacrifices of animals to contribute to that. But a thank offering back then, it was to bring an animal. And of course, it would be done at great personal expense for the offerer, because, I mean, meat was a luxury. It wasn't eaten every day. But yeah, he brings a thank offering, and we can read more about this thank offering in Leviticus 7. He will fulfill his vow. He will bring the animal. It will be sacrificed, and like I said, it will be shared between the altar, between the priest, and between the offerer himself, and they can enjoy some nice meat and with wafers and cakes. So that was the thank offering that was brought back then.